Madam Speaker.
I call Maggie Berry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, unlike the Speaker who just resumed his seat, I believe that 2013 is going to be a great year for New Zealand. I was with the Prime Minister last Friday, actually, when he addressed the North Harbour Club, and he outlined the government's plan for this year. And this national-led government, of course, has always been very clear and consistent about our economic program, and we are managing the government's finances well, getting back to surplus and starting to reduce debt. Now, the plan that he gave to the North Harbour Club and has outlined for us is a detailed plan, and it outlines our priorities for this year, and ones that I believe this team are very united in supporting. We are very firmly focused on encouraging investment, strengthening the economy and boosting jobs. Now, many of the 350 people who attended the lunch earlier on Friday were from my North Shore electorate. And I spoke to a lot of them, and I can assure you that the initiatives that the PM announced were extremely well received, because his vision resonates with the New Zealand public, and his stated aim for New Zealand to be a magnet for investment was actually greeted with thunderous applause. As he said, we need investment from people from overseas as well as from Kiwis, because the more investment we get, the more jobs will be created. It sounds really simple, but apparently it's way too complicated for Labor and the Greens to grasp. But on the North Shore, we are very keenly aware of the importance of keeping the economy on track and also being restrained on our spending, because that's how we run our businesses and our homes. We know it is very foolhardy to live beyond your means. Now, my constituents tell me very clearly they are worried about the unemployment level and especially about jobs for our young people. We understand on this side of the chamber their concerns, and even in these cash-strapped times, this John Key-led government has allocated money to where it really matters and to where it can make a genuine difference. Now, my North Shore constituents have applauded in particular the initiatives to expand and improve apprenticeship training. The Prime Minister announced the introduction of an expanded and improved new apprenticeship scheme, which, in case the opposition forces missed at the time, I'll spell out for them. It means that there's going to be an extra $12 million in government funding allocated to a new and regrouped apprenticeship scheme. Now, the first 10,000 apprentices to enrol from about April this year are going to be getting $1,000 towards tools and $2,000 if they are in those priority trades, and the same will be paid to their employers. So it's a win-win situation. This is a government that's taking a hands-on approach to boosting skills and to supporting jobs. We've also launched 5 new vocational pathways that very clearly signpost the subjects that our young people should take to get the jobs where there are shortages of skills. Endless arts degrees are not really going to get people the meal ticket that they need, and it's just not the work available. So instead, we're encouraging careers in construction, manufacturing, the primary and service sectors, and as well as that, social services. So in the trades and services academies, there's going to be over 4,000 places available, and around 8,700 youth guarantee places as well. Thanks to Minister Paula Bennett in the social development area, we've had huge gains, and we have big plans to continue that. The white paper on vulnerable children, which she talked about a few moments ago, contains a significant series of more than 30 initiatives, and that's part of the Children's Action Plan to better protect vulnerable kids. And I believe, as the Prime Minister does, that this is a piece of work that is going to define us as a government, and it does more to protect vulnerable children than anything the opposing forces have done in their time on the Treasury benches, because unlike the waffle and the piffle that we've endured hearing from the opposition parties since this afternoon's, National's plans are targeted to where it matters, and we have proven that we can and we will deliver on our promises. So 2013, Madam Chair, is going to be a very busy year. We have some 30 pieces of legislation that we want to put through this year, and we are determined, we are energised, and we are focused to achieve that outcome. Conservation and the environment are, of course, subjects that have always been close to my heart, and National is an absolute champion of sound, workable policies that strike the right balance of looking after our precious environment and exploring what our natural resources can offer our economy. Now, earlier in the day, we heard from our Minister of the Environment, Amy Adams, about the government's priorities in the safe management of our abundant natural resources. I absolutely agree with the Minister that water is our single most important natural resource, and this government continues to be committed to cleaning up polluted sites. For example, so far we've spent $101 million, that's more than 4 times what Labor spent, on cleaning up the waterways. The Resource Management Act, most people agree, needs reform because of the lost opportunities, the time-consuming problems, the frustrating processes which only really serve to drive up costs and ultimately put up barriers to growth. Now, Minister Adams is working through a very comprehensive package of reforms with the Cabinet in amongst that area of the resource management, which will be released in the next few months, because as a country we know that we need to improve our future planning. As a member of the Local Government and Environment Select Committee, I'll be working very hard to continue to progress our local government reforms this year, despite the relentless negativity of Labor and the Greens. Isn't the name opposition, though, entirely suited to the grab bag of the disaffected that occupied the opposition benches this term? There is a complete lack of innovative, affordable and effective policies. They really do only exist to oppose. They're against tax reform, opposed to roads, opposed to oil and gas exploration, RMA, 90-day employment initiatives, all a bad idea. The odd new initiative is all about really nonsense. Let's take housing. Usually I'm a staunch fan of recycling, but Labor's piled far too much manure on their ill-thought-out housing policy. It was first announced last year as a bright, shiny thing. Once their costing guesstimates were entirely discredited, they reworked it a bit, announced it again in Wainui-o-Mata, but it remains as implausible and unachievable as their last crack at it. National, on the other hand, is definitely walking the talk on affordable housing. And we've added an extra 2,000 state houses to the areas that really need them the most. And we've also delivered 50,000 upgrades. Now, we've insulated, in addition to that, more than 190,000 homes, and by the end of this year, every single state house that can be insulated will be insulated. We're also helping more people get into their own homes with the lowest interest rates in a generation. When I bought my first home 30 years ago, the interest rates were around 25%. I had to save hard for the deposit. It was a struggle to meet the interest rates. That was the reality 3 decades ago. Our Welcome Home loan cap has already assisted some 4,500 first home buyers with finance, and I very much look forward to seeing what further initiatives Minister Nick Smith will be coming up with. Then there are our achievements in health. Now, our track record under Minister Tony Ryall has been nothing short of spectacular. A highlight personally of my first year as a Member of Parliament was the announcement of the $25 million rebuild of the Taharoto Mental Health Unit at the North Shore Hospital. From my first weeks in the job early last year, I'd heard terribly sad stories from families and from patients who needed and deserved a modern, fit-for-purpose facility. When I visited Taharoto, I was shocked at how inadequate it was, and I was absolutely delighted to be able to announce on behalf of the Minister late last year that funding for a full replacement was being made available. When we look at hospital operations, they are increasing on average by 8,000 patients per year, and they're now at record levels. 35,000 more patients per year get elective treatment under National than occurred under Labor years. There are less waiting times as well for cancer treatment and for accident and emergency. North Shore Hospital, which was, by anybody's standards, a very poor-performing hospital and a poor-performing DHB, has improved dramatically, and now more than 95% of patients are seen in A&E within that time of 6 hours, that target. And so we've now gone in North Shore from having one of the worst-performing hospitals to one of the absolute best. So I'm very proud to be part of this team, this national John Key-led government. I think that we are a unified, coherent group of people who share a vision and share the vision of John Key. We are not in a mishmash of opposing everything, holding everything up and actually halting progress where it needs to occur. This is a government that is making a difference. And one of the things that was said last Friday at the lunch was they were very impressed by the positivity of the Prime Minister, by his ability to encapsulate the vision that all New Zealanders share, what we all want for our children and our grandchildren. We need to act now. We need to act decisively. We have, in this government, a stable, proven leadership that can conduct us through tough times. John Key is very much a steady hand at the till, and he has a very good, high-performing cabinet. And I'm very proud to Tiller as well. He's in charge of the ship. He's not under attack by his own members. As a leader, he is respected by his caucus and cabinet team, unlike the other parties that sit in this House. So we are very privileged to have him as our leader, and I'm very proud to be part of this national John Key-led government. Thank you, Madam Speaker.